it is Derby week, something to look forward to. Obviously going to be checking on the Derby in its entirety now with odds and post positions. Of course, we will be looking at the Oaks and take a moment to kind of look back at some of our favorite Derby moments. But unfortunately, we are going to start the show off with some, I don't know if it's breaking news, but some news coming out of Churchill Downs. We started last week, or we talked last week about one of the horses that was going to run in the Kentucky Derby, unfortunately had to be put down, euthanized at Churchill. Unfortunately, that trend has continued as 3 more horses just this week have been euthanized at Churchill. It's unfortunate, but it is something that we do feel compelled. We have to talk about it. We do talk a lot about the Horse Racing Care Act a lot, and we hope to get someone on sometime soon. But this is kind of maybe, I don't want to say forcing the issue, but it kind of is. I guess if there's any good that can come of this, if there is, hopefully it is maybe reaffirming the light. We are, I know, going into a very turbulent year politically, and I don't know how all that's going to go down, so hopefully that can get pushed forward this year. But unfortunate news coming out of Churchill as the roses are being ready to be ran for. Raider Jim, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just did a quick look right now, and just within the last 2 hours from Churchill Downs, there is news saying that they have indefinitely suspended trainer Saffie Joseph Jr. because it was 2 of his horses that both inexplicably just collapsed after races, one on Saturday, one on Tuesday. And because they were both under his training regimen, they want to know what's going on. So again, that's indefinite until they can do further investigations. It says the statement was from Bill Mudd, the president and operating officer of Churchill Downs, Inc., said the safety of our equine and human athletes and integrity of our sport is the highest priority. We feel these measures are our duty and responsibility. So more to come on that. And, it's a terrible thing. We never like to see any horses go down. But as you said, that's 3 in the last week. And that's just 3 too many. And it's going to get a lot of that negative coverage. You're going to have rightfully so, you'll have the groups come out that don't favor thoroughbred racing as it is. So let's just add fuel to that fire.
Yeah, certainly, we're not thinking about, the millionaires and billionaires behind Churchill, but it is a sad situation leading towards the biggest day in horse racing, let's be honest. For the casual fan, obviously Saturday Breeders' Cup in November is the best of the best, but in terms of one race, all eyes on, this race for the, 2 minutes, this is the biggest day, and it's always Churchill. But this is their cloud that's going to be there. It'll be interesting to see how NBC covers it. I have to imagine they have to say something. We really do enjoy what we're doing, but they're the big guys. And if we have to kind of take a moment to talk about it, I would have to imagine them and NBC will, and I expect that they will. This isn't a negative on NBC. I do expect, but keep an eye on that. This is really, really unfortunate. And obviously that kind of changes things, though, when we talk about individual trainer. I commend Churchill for the, indefinite suspension. And obviously, do your due diligence. There's, this could be just a really, really sad coincidence. However, right, at the same time, you can't sit there and say, oh, it's 3 strikes and you're out, and cost another horse. And, for Churchill, God forbid, I've always said one of the worst things that could ever happen in horse racing is a euthanasia at the Kentucky Derby. It wouldn't kill the sport. It's too big to fail. I should knock on wood saying that, but that would be an absolute nightmare. No matter what the circumstances are, so many eyes are on that. So at the very least, and believe me, we're talking about the Kentucky Derby. We're talking about the Oaks. The cards at Churchill this weekend are stacked. It's not about those 2 races. So the point being, there's a lot of eyes on this card. And at the very, I hope that no matter what, even if the Derby wasn't this week, this would have been the same action taken. And in terms of,
absolutely,
yeah, this needed to be handled immediately, and obviously with 2 horses collapsing directly after races, I'm not an equine specialist, but I can see some red flags, and you see 2 from the same trainer. That's enough, like we said, to figure things out and just hold all of that person's horses going forward. So,
and it really is too bad for Churchill Downs as an organization or corporation, however you want to refer to it. But they still have that shroud of the whole Bob Baffert suspension that is there. To anybody who follows horse racing at any level, you probably, it's very obvious. Look through all the cards this week. That's not a name you're going to see. He's doing his thing out here on the West Coast and a few of the other tracks, but they can't get away from these negative lights that continue to shine on them.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's something that is happening in horse racing. Now, I will say this might be one of the, and I could be just completely kind of unaware of some other thing, but in terms of the size of the track and notoriety and the amount in this short of time, this is one of the bigger, deaths in terms of quantity that I've seen in quite some time. And it is one of the things that why I do really enjoy Del Mar and can go, because Del Mar has such a great track. They're not perfect, but this is a track at Del Mar that took a chance early on, went with the synthetic race course or racetrack. It did not work. They spent a lot more money to put the dirt down. And I'm not sitting here saying, oh, poor Del Mar, they're going to miss meals. That's not the case. I'm just saying they didn't have to do that. They did. And their track record has been very good. I know there have been a few deaths, but I know one of them was just kind of a freak accident. A horse ran headlong, and that was just a really unfortunate accident. But in terms of Churchill, also a track that has good standards, but unfortunately we do see situations like this. Just tough coming essentially days before the biggest day in Churchill, and in horse racing.